He built one of the most successful hedge funds in history, a firm trusted by governments, billionaires, and central banks. His name is Ray Dalio, the founder of Bridgewater Associates, a man who believed that markets could be understood like a machine, if only you learned how every piece of it worked. Over the decades, he became a legend admired for his discipline, logic, and results. But before the fame, before the billions, there was a moment when he lost everything. In the early 1980s, Ray Dalio was a rising star on Wall Street. He had built a reputation for calling the economy with almost machine-like precision. People listened when he spoke, and he knew it. When the U.S. entered a period of high inflation, high interest rates, and fear, Dalio was convinced a depression was coming, something even worse than 1929. He spoke on television, wrote reports, debated top economists, and with total conviction, he positioned his entire fund for a collapse, shorting stocks, long on bonds, expecting total economic disaster. But the collapse never came. The U.S. economy began to recover, and markets surged. Dalio wasn't just wrong, he was publicly wrong, and when the markets rose, his positions and his confidence were destroyed with them. The man who was predicting the future hadn't seen his own failure coming. 1982. The markets recovered, the economy grew, and Ray Dalio's portfolio collapsed. Bridgewater, the fund he built from scratch, was broke. He had to let go of his employees, close the office, and borrow $4,000 from his father just to survive. Years of confidence, gone overnight. He wasn't the man with answers anymore. He was a man sitting alone, wondering how it all went so wrong. But that silence, that brutal moment of humility, would become the foundation of everything he built after. Because sometimes the most valuable thing the market can take from you is your ego. That loss didn't just destroy his portfolio, it destroyed the illusion of knowing. For the first time, Ray Dalio questioned himself, not the market. He realized something simple, yet powerful. You can be right and still lose everything if you're not humble enough to know you might be wrong. So he started over. One desk, one assistant, and a new principle: radical open-mindedness. Every new idea was challenged, debated, tested. He built a culture at Bridgewater where disagreement wasn't conflict, it was discovery. "I never want to be wrong again because of my own ego," he wrote in his notebook. "I want the truth, even if it hurts." And that's how Bridgewater was reborn, not as a hedge fund, but as a laboratory of ideas, built on one man's biggest mistake. Out of failure, Dalio built something entirely new, not just a hedge fund, but a system for thinking. Bridgewater became a living laboratory of ideas. Every decision, every mistake, every assumption, recorded, analyzed, improved. He called it an idea meritocracy, a place where the best argument wins, not the loudest voice. Employees debated with Dalio directly. Even interns could challenge the founder if the data was on their side. Every meeting was recorded. Every opinion was scored. Bridgewater's walls were covered in charts showing who made good decisions and who didn't. It wasn't about ego anymore. It was about truth. Dalio wanted to remove emotion from decision-making and replace it with radical transparency. He said, "If you don't look at your mistakes, you won't learn. If you can't be criticized, you can't grow." This culture wasn't easy. Many couldn't handle the constant feedback or the exposure of their errors, but those who stayed learned faster than anyone else in finance. Bridgewater used data-driven models to understand how the global economy works, from interest rates to currency flows, building algorithms that simulate cause and effect, just like Dalio always dreamed. Those systems made Bridgewater famous for its global macro strategies, predicting debt cycles, inflation waves, and geopolitical shifts long before others noticed. Today, Bridgewater manages over $100 billion for clients including governments, pension funds, and foundations around the world. But Dalio says the true goal was never to be rich, it was to understand how reality works. Because, in his words, the biggest mistake investors make is believing that what happened in the past will keep happening in the future. And that's why Bridgewater and Dalio himself keep questioning everything. Ray Dalio didn't become a legend because he never failed. He became one because he learned deeper, faster, and more honestly than others ever dared. And maybe that's the real edge in investing, not predicting the market, but understanding yourself.